Welcome back to Beards and Brews. Hey, if you haven't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button and ring that little bell. Not only does it help us out, but you'll know exactly when we have another one brewing. This week's movie, it's going to be the Mothman Prophecies. Fellas, what do we think of this movie that takes place in our home state?
I remember watching the old trailer for this on TV all the fucking time. And coming into this movie, knowing that I've seen it before, all I could still remember was Richard Dick Gere and fucking Chapstick.
Chapstick, it's so weird. It's like it's in the movie for like a brief second.
I'll tell you, that's like one thing more than I remembered. I have also seen this movie once. I saw it in a theater when it first came out because it was an assignment for class in high school. I remembered Richard Gere was in it. That's about it.
Okay. Actually, I remembered it being good. Maybe it was because like everybody at the time was really excited about this movie being made about, the state that we're in. We were just like all excited. I remember seeing it with a bunch of people, not in theaters, and just being fairly positive about it. Like the ending was just, I was just like, okay, wow, okay, that's gonna leave an impact. 20 years later, whatever, man, shit's kind of boring.
I might be saying something controversial here among you guys, but I didn't hate this. Like, it wasn't great or anything, but like I had a mostly enjoyable time even this time.
I could never watch this again in my life and be better for it.
I'd be okay with that, yeah. Just to add, like, I didn't hate it either, but it was, to me, boring. And I do like slow, dragging, methodical movies. I mentioned The Shining before we started recording. Fantastic. No one's going to disagree with me there. But something about this one, it just doesn't have that, like, ending punch. It doesn't have that hurrah at that end.
Yeah, I do agree with you there. I love the slow, methodical, like slow burn horror. And this in the first, I don't know, I'll say hour and 30 minutes, maybe, gives you the idea that this is going to be a slow burn horror movie. Because that's what it is for the first 90 minutes. And then it's not really that anymore. Because it doesn't like pay off or really anything. But I don't mind the first 90 minutes.
Well, not to harp on it or anything, but you think this movie could have succeeded in what it wanted to do if it was like maybe 45 minutes shorter? Because like I feel like a lot of this movie is cryptic in the sense of like trying to get Richard Gere to put the pieces together, but like even as an audience, we already know it's Mothman.
To me, it wouldn't be that it needed to be shorter. It just needed to actually have shit happen. Fucking nothing happens. Nothing. What's your review of the movie, Brody? Nothing fucking happened, and then a bridge fell down.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, but that's kind of how it runs, which is unfortunate because I was a little excited to watch it again. Hadn't seen it in forever, and there's just so much blasé. It's just like Richard Gere is here, Richard Gere is there, Richard Gere is back here. Now he's over there.
Yeah, I think you guys watched this the day before I did. And when I was doing my watch through, about 45 minutes in, I texted you guys and I was like, when does this movie start? Because you're exactly right. The first, I don't even know how long, just not a whole lot happens. They're working on setup, but it's taking a good while to get there.
Yeah. And I was real honest with you, nothing until like the last 15 minutes.
And that's where I think the movie could have been different. If we would have chucked out a big portion of the filler and moved it to the end of the film. So we have Richard Gere, cryptic messages, injured cold, haha, bridge falls down. Oh, it was the Mothman. And then another 30 to 40 minutes of actual research, a conclusion instead of literally 2 hours of waiting. Oh my God, it's like Contact all over again.
Damn, that's actually really close. But I just realized you explained basically another character in the movie. So like halfway through, we'll get to it again. But Richard Gere has to meet this like Mothman expert or whatever, and he basically explains how he was a part of some kind of like Mothman incident, and it shook him so hard he was just like, the hell with it. I don't want anything to do with it anymore. I feel like we should follow that guy. Like, what the fuck happened to him?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're not wrong about that. But I think I'm just realizing that the part of the movie that you guys don't like is not the part of the movie that I don't like.
I mean, that's fair. I mean, that's fine.
I will be very interested to hear how this kept your attention, because it starts like a hacker movie. It's following
Yeah.
phone lines and cords and shit. And you got Richard Gere going, gotta go bang my wife in a fucking closet in front of a realtor.
Yeah, I like this scene because like Richard Gere just like manned up and he's had the balls to be like, listen, we'll take it, and just shuts the door and just goes back to town. Fuck that dude.
Yeah,
We'll
good
break
on
this
him,
bitch in.
right? Also, I know you guys noticed. I don't need to ask this, but did you notice the little moth flying around in the closet? That's a little foreshadowing or something.
Yeah, yeah, because that was the moment the missus was like, "What is this? 2002?" And I was just like,
Yes.
"Absolutely, killed right on."
There's a lot of little instances like that, not just the moth, but especially pairs of red lights that,
Mhm.
Yep.
like,
I'm-
I'm sure you guys noticed this, but it's that kind of stuff, those little, like, flurries of, oh, that's cool, that kept coming through the first, like, hour or so of the movie that I really liked. Like, not a whole
Yeah.
lot was happening, but, it was holding my
All right.
attention that way.
You're talking about these red lights. I like a ton of the transitions in here. A ton of the transitions of this movie are really fucking cool. With the red lights, with the bridge, with its like vertical lighting, and then we have the Mothman flying, things like that. That's interesting. And when they're doing the flashbacks, and you get like the visualization of this squiggly Mothman-esque creature, those are fun. They just don't happen often.
No, they don't. And actually, the most vivid picture we get of the Mothman is actually kind of the worst part of the movie for me. So,
Oh, yeah.
Richard Gere and Grace from Will and Grace, they're just driving along after they bought their house. Extremely happy couple. I was just like, you know what? Good for them. Acted really well. I'm just going to put that out there. They're just driving along. It's like, Daddy, I got to use the bathroom. Not now, damn it. And then the fucking Mothman comes out of nowhere. And it just straight up looked like fucking Chris Angel with red eyes. Like, who the fuck is that?
Look out! It's that goddamn Mothman monster again, and he wants more chapstick.
Exactly.
In its credit, though, like, when I saw that, I was like, ooh, that was kind of ugly. I hope it doesn't come back. And it doesn't.
Yeah, I'm glad. That if the effect was just bad, whoever did that should feel bad. It was just like, it threw me off. I was like, okay, whatever.
It was 2002.
It's
It was
the-
a different time.
It's the quality of like a high school mascot. It looks terrible.
Ooh, yeah.
That's enough to cause Grace to lose her shit and I guess punch the gas because brakes don't work the
guess.
way it happens in this film.
I honestly didn't understand what was happening. Like, I understand, like, we're in the middle of a car wreck, but like geography is just like way in the back seat for whatever reason, because it's spinning, it's twirling. But for whatever reason, when it cuts to Richard Gere, he just seems mildly confused.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes. So they punch the brakes. The car swerves to the right. It begins to do like this Fast and Furious Tokyo drift nonsense. And Grace bangs her head off the thing, turning herself into
Yeah.
a turnip. And Richard Gere is just going, what?
What the fuck happened?
Yeah, and as a viewer, I'm like, what the fuck happened?
Yeah. Yeah, so she bumps her noggin. They got to go scan her cat. And they they find something while they're in there. They find a tumor. I don't know. She's gonna die.
I'm a tumor.
I'm a tumor.
Come on, extract this fucking tumor.
Yeah, they find that there's a tumor. It's super rare tumor. Yada yada yada. This is another actually. Yeah, I mean, come on. Like, this is
I know.
among the most not happening parts of this movie. Except this is another one of those scenes that I really love because the transition, it shows him, Richard Gere, at the hospital just standing there, and when it pans up with him in front of two Christmas trees that are only decorated in red.
Yes.
I like that.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of, like you said earlier, this movie is shot extremely well. There's some really good ideas, but on your point beforehand, boy, did they really stretch how infinitely crazy Grace's situation was that led to her death. Like, not only was she in this wild, wacky car accident, she just had this wild, wacky tumor thing, and she pretty much dies immediately. Like,
fucking immediately, Eric.
yeah.
Spot on.
And it threw me for a loop. Like, I know as a character, Richard Gere must go through this hardship to get through the rest of the movie, but it's just like, God damn, like, enough. Like, what else? Was the doctor also about to walk in and be like, Mr. Gere, she also had shingles, and like just rub it in a little extra?
Her cholesterol was also quite high.
Exactly.
They try to.
You should put her on a
they-
statin.
Oh. They try to make her seem so pure. So after this, and she's like laying there getting ready to die as soon as he walks out of the room, she pulls him in close and she's like, I'm so sorry that I ruined everything, Dick. And he's like, don't worry, baby. But why'd you crash the car? And she looks him dead in the windows of his soul and says, I think it.
Nice. So you're telling me there was an opportunity lost where Grace would come back right when the bridge is about to collapse and just be like, what are you doing here? And she puts her hands in the air, I done it, and saves the day.
Oh.
Yes. That's why she died immediately. As soon as fucking Dick left, they were like, eat this dry dog turd.
To the audience, this is a reference to the Dreamcatcher cast that we had a few weeks back. After you're done with this one, go listen to that one.
Hell yeah, context, fellas.
Yeah. All right, so if we're just going ahead to she's dead, because she's dead, we do get another, like, there's a little, I don't know, a patient. Somebody pops up and is like, yeah, she knew she was going, she was drawing angels. Look at her notebook. And so he looks in her little sketch notebook, which all of these would have had to have been done in, like,
Overnight.
six hours or something, because she died quick. And
For real. And
those are not angels.
no, if anything, they are angels of death. She has drawn over and over and over this character that looks like the Grim fucking Reaper with glowing red eyes. It doesn't look like a Mothman. It looks like a cloaked figure with black angel wings with red glowing eyes. Add a fucking scythe, and it's the Grim Reaper.
Yeah, for sure. I do kind of like that moment when he's flipping through the things, looking at all these Chris Angels. And, like, he kind of has the look on his face where he could go two ways. One, this means something. I have to follow up, which is the rest of the movie. Or B, yeah, that's fucking weird. Slam. Trash can.
Yeah, it's not very good either. It's like the fucking Babadook got drawn by 5th graders.
This drawing is Baba Dookie.
Just roasting this dead woman. She's still rotting on the bed.
Fuck her. She was in the movie for only 10 seconds.
But yeah, as he's flipping through all these, we see like they're getting progressively more detailed, more chaotic, more scattered, and it's just like black with red dots. And it's just like, well, yeah, that's fucking weird.
Something tells me if you follow all these kid drawings, you wind up in the upside down.
Yeah, dude. Well, to him, he followed these kid drawings and he wound up in West Virginia, hunting the deserted streets for the Mothman.
The story skips ahead 2 years later, and did you guys notice that there's a WVU football game playing on the television? Nobody? All right, that's just me.
Honestly, I was already like a third of the way checked out.
Yeah, the only thing that I can positively remember is the missus was like, hey, his hair's a little longer, to which I retorted, it's been 2 years.
And he hasn't had a haircut since. But I'll tell you, I was actually, and I'm glad they say 2 years later, because I was a little bit confused about the time frame that they set up. Like, I know all of the actual events in this story that this story is based on happened in the 1960s, like 1967, 68, something like that. But this movie takes place in present day, like 2000, 2002. So the events of this actually straddle 9/11, straddle 9/11. Crazy to think about it that way.
I'm gonna need some unauthorized sequel where Mothman did 9/11 now.
Yeah, it might very well infer that.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
I mean, why is that infinitely more interesting than this whole movie? Like, I just want to see that now. I just want to see some bullshit on History Channel 2 at midnight. By the way, Mothman did 9/11 or something, you know?
Now you got to get a Greek guy with a bad haircut out there going, Mothman.
Yeah.
You can't see my hands, but I'm doing the thing.
It's one of those dudes where, like, you can definitely tell, like, he's wearing the only dress shirt he's ever owned. And he's just, like, slightly sweaty. Yes, it was the Man of Moth, you see.
He called me one night on my cellular device, and as he was speaking to me through the electricity voice made by that electric gremlin, he said,
oh, shit.
The planes were real, but there was also thermite. And I said, yes. And that's how I know.
What?
Even the narrator's like, yeah, we got to cut some Nazi shit right now.
Exactly.
But yeah, basically what I meant was, it looks very like old, sort of like all the TVs look older than the time that it's supposed to take place in. Like even the car that they're driving whenever they crash is like an old Volvo or something. So I'm not sure if they're intentionally doing that to like make you not really know what time this is supposed to be, but they let you know in the new time it's 2002.
I don't know, because movies around that time had a really hard time like being period pieces, because like what do? Do you go full 90s or do you do something futuristic? You know, like 2002, what do you think of? Just 2002. All right.
2002 is just the late 90s.
You're not
Just
wrong,
extended.
no.
It's just an extra season of Seinfeld.
I mean,
Bingo.
the 90s got a late start anyway. They didn't start until like August 91, so it can run a little bit further past, you know?
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Who else got a late start was Richard Gere, 2:30 in the a.m., knocking on that guy from the postman's door.
That is Will Patton, and this is his, what, fourth appearance on this cast? Gotta love that guy.
After this, I'm tired of seeing his stupid face. I swear to God. He is chewing so much goddamn scenery in context.
Bro.
So, Richard Gere, I forget even what he was doing. He works for the Washington Post. He's on he goes on a trip, but he like magically warps to West Virginia, and he walks up to this guy's house. Happens to be Will Patton's residence, I guess. And he's just like, "What the fuck you doing here? You were here last night. I got a shotgun. You better get out of here." I'm just like, "What are you doing in this man's shower, Richard Gere?"
I'm sure he's wondering the same thing, actually. And oh, hey, there's Laura Linney.
In all honesty, this scene progresses so quickly
Yeah.
that it really feels that way. Richard Gere knocks on the door. Patton opens it up, shotgun in hand. And instead of shooing him away, escorts him to the bathroom where he tucks him into the corner of the shower and calls the police. The police arrive and go, "No, this dude's hot. He's not a bad guy."
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, but he says, yeah, this is 3 nights in a row. This weird guy's coming around here poking around, and we ain't having none of them DC liberals down here. I'm going to shoot him.
But he's like, "You've been here 3 nights in a row." He goes, "Bud, this is my first night here. My car broke down. Sheriff, this motherfucker lying." So she takes him into town, points at the sign, "Hey, it's Point Pleasant," and then says, "Keep that dick running. I'll be back for it."
And that's kind of the point where the movie started to sprinkle in like the supernatural elements and stuff, Will Patton is definitely torn up about this whole thing, but we do bump into him again immediately in the middle of Point Pleasant, and Richard Gere has the balls to walk up to him and be like, "Hey, dude, I'm not saying you're crazy, but I'm going to explain to you why I'm fucking crazy."
Yeah, that's pretty much exactly what he says. You're not. I know some weird shit's been going on, but I think it might be more me than you, buddy.
He goes, "So I'm not a crazy redneck?" Hard cut to 2:30 a.m. chilling on Route 35.
Yeah. Yeah.
And just to, set the geographic scenery up, he is supposed to be traveling from Washington, D.C. to Richmond, Virginia. That's south.
Correct.
And that's just over the course of a couple hours. He's leaving D.C. at like 10 at night. He somehow gets to Point Pleasant, West Virginia, which is on the whole other side of the state through a mountain range and shit. And he's getting there at 2:30. There's some wacky shit going on.
Mothman just be silly. He's just pranking the shit out of Richard Gere. Like, that's all he does through this whole movie. He killed his wife, got him.
You talking about pranking? I thought I was getting pranked whenever the cop goes, "Well, what's happening is the Mothman has been putting the spook on the good church folk of this place. He's been stealing all the chapstick and giving them prank phone calls and setting poo bags on fire on the porches." That fucking Mothman's.
But yeah, there's also that moment where after she goes on that spiel, but like, "Oh yeah, all these wacky hicks, they're going on about Mothman and such," she starts to be like more introspective, be like, "Yeah, I had a dream too once. I was in this ocean full of Christmas presents, and I forgot how to swim, and I just sank under, but I was peaceful, and I accepted it. Man, I need some therapy." Anyways, Richard Gere,
This scene, honestly, because he's talking about all these people having like hallucinations and dreams that are all very like foretelling, and oh shit, you guys.
Can you just come?
She was in the water and sinking.
Yeah. She was number 37, like 37 of the last of the victims. But
you
like
guys,
you get
my brain just got blown. I was about to go on about how this dream was just like a completely meaningless, like unrelated part of the movie. Why is it here? And then I realized,
Chandler,
that was live.
because
That happened right now.
it's because it was meaningless. and it was unnecessary to be a part of the movie. To me, this is the part of the movie that pissed me off the fucking most. Not the dream, but the actual scene of Richard Gere leaping from a bridge, swimming down to rescue victim 37 from her police car 40 feet below icy frigid waters. Fuck this. Like, I was so
They
mad.
they should have put in a bit where he mentioned he was part of like the Olympic team from the Arctic or something. Just a little something.
Yeah, like, I used to swim at fucking University of Pennsylvania or something. That's probably not a good one to say right now. Shit.
Or
Um,
should even or should even just keep it at home and just be like, yeah, I went to WVU or Marshall or something. Create some rivalry.
that's a good idea.
Or been like, I'm Aquaman's cousin.
You could just call me Richard.
Bingo. He's Dick Man.
All right, so the next thing, they're looking through all these files. He's getting this information, getting really interested about, everything that's going on here.
Mhm.
They end up going around to talk to some of the townspeople. They go out to this one lady's trailer, and she describes it like 2 red eyes, 10 feet tall, or something ridiculous.
Oh man, that little scene is so poorly shot. It was fucking infuriating. Like, they're outside, and I felt claustrophobic next to this fucking trailer. Like, how do you get this many people and just like stare down their nostrils the entire scene? Like, what the fuck? Were they ashamed of showing that tree?
Well, yeah, the tree had all kinds of that sludge on it. There was some sludge on the fender in the beginning with the first time they encountered Mothman. There's some sludge on this one. It's coming together.
Coming. It's all the chapstick he's been fucking stealing. He smears it on shit as a calling card. But I will say, this part where they're doing the quick transitions and looking through the case files and learning about the Mothman was an actually interesting bit. You go, okay, all right, you're giving me exposition. You're giving me plot. I need this right now. And then they start firing up this music, which I 100% thought was Voodoo Child.
It's super close. They definitely try to sprinkle in like that whole CSI vibe. He's doing all this detective work but it's taking some time. But we don't have time to show how much time has passed. Montage, that kind of thing. I think that's why it piqued your interest, because it's a little familiar and also way better than just him smelling the fart in another scene.
I don't know. There was that one little snippet where they go out to talk to like the teenagers that were sort of making out in a car, and then when they show what's going on, they're getting hot and heavy in the back seat, and then the sun explodes.
Okay, that had me giggling a little bit, because these 2 teenagers out in the middle of nowhere just getting it on, whatever, and Mothman decides to just throw a flashbang at him.
Oh, I just thought it was because Mothman doesn't like it whenever underage children are exploring each other's TNT mounds.
Oh, Mothman's a prude.
All right, so once we get through that, we get another encounter with Will Patton. He just keeps coming back. And this time he's like, no, wait, maybe I am crazy. Let me tell you how.
And we just have to sit down through it, man.
He's like, I had Mothman talk to me through the hole in my sink like it was Pennywise the Clown.
All right, I didn't really think about how stupid that sounded until you said it just then. He's talking to him through the hole in the sink.
That's
right.
Yes.
That line belongs in another movie. It's legitimately the mayor of New York from Ghostbusters. Like, I stayed up all night talking to LaGuardia, and he's been dead for 40 years.
He's in my goddamn sink. He's stuck in the U drain.
Yes. Get out of there. That's mine.
All right, so during all this, the voice is telling him in his headache, the migraine that he's got, that, don't be afraid. 99 people are going to die. Denver 9, whatever. And he's like, and then I got this drawing, and I didn't draw that.
No shit, that was a 5-year-old. He just can't admit that he's awful at it.
Mothman laid down and was like, draw me like one of your French girls.
And all he had was just a box of Creole.
He just had like one black crayon.
Yes.
All I have is black and red. My little boy Timmy, he just likes to chew the rest.
But no, they don't spend too much time, wondering about what that's going to be. The very next scene, they're out to dinner with the whole group, and they see on the TV, Flight 9 out of Denver, crash, 99 dead. Damn.
I would have laughed so hard if Richard Gere, because he's in full focus, because, Patton's trying to talk to him, and he's just like staring hard at the TV. I would have laughed so hard if he just slunk across the bar and just changed the channel.
So like Jeopardy.
It's just Night Court. I'm just going to bring it up again.
But this is where we get more exposition. But at this point, you're going, okay, you've told me enough. Fucking do something. And they don't. He continues to tell you, I met Mothman at the cement factory where he took both my chapstick and my mouth virginity.
Oh, no, Will Patton.
It left me feeling injured cold inside.
That got me.
So Indrid Cold. Okay, this is a new character that shows up, I guess. I'm still not sure if he's like real or if what he is exactly, but he's tied to this somehow. Anybody have any insight with that?
Is that the guy that calls Richard Gere?
Yep.
Okay, listen. It's just that dude from Scream.
Yep. What's in my hand? Your dick. He's like fucking furiously beating it.
Doesn't even stop while this Buffalo Bill sounding assholes on the phone's like, yes, yes.
Why would he? He's horny for answers.
Oh man, that needs to be a real detective show.
Horny for answers.
Yeah. But more on this phone call. Like he's getting what's basically a crank call from Mothman, and he's like, well, yeah, if you're really watching me, what am I doing? He's just like, playing with your shoe. Lucky guess. What am I doing now?
Yeah, like I feel like after probably the second question that he asked, he would have, came to the realization, this might be kind of weird, kind of legit. First question, like, all right, where's my watch? It's under the bed. All right, cool. Lucky guess. Turns all the lights off. What's in my hand? Chapstick.
Yep.
All right.
It could have been anything. Like any product. For some reason, chapstick is just funny.
All right, there's a book in my hand. What's the third line from the 52nd page? And he reads it off like, all right, you don't need to continue this anymore. We're sold. You're talking to a demon.
No. Keep it going. Sam Jackson just breaks down the door. What's in your wallet?
Oh.
This was such a weird scene because he's telling him everything. He's like, you get 4 questions, and 3 of the questions he asks are, what am I doing right now?
Dude, that's how like those like teenage phone calls get started. So, what you doing? And then 5 seconds later, what's on your mind? What are you thinking?
What do you look like? Depends on who's looking. That's an actual line from this movie.
Yes, it is. And then he goes on to ask Dick if he's a size 13. Goodbye, Mothman.
Yeah. And that little scene makes Richard Gere lose his mind, too. He just can't handle the fact that somebody knows where his shoes are.
For real. We get more red lights, things like that. We get a really cool transition because he goes, oh, man, I believe you now. And now that I believe you, I'm going to go search out this guy who wrote a book. The first thing the guy who wrote a book says is, don't talk to me about the Mothman. Mothman's Ukrainian.
I kind of wish that guy was Rip Torn now. Nice.
Yeah, the Ukrainians call it Mothman, but, people around the world call it different things. They showed up in cave paintings, but it's just not part of our quote-unquote physical reality.
Eric, just for you. That's not a Mothman. That's a goddamn crane on the car.
It's so good. Oh man, I kind of need that to happen now. Because like I mentioned earlier, this guy had run into Mothman previously, had an awful experience. An experience so bad, like it turned him off from just writing about it, being the scholar he once was, and just absolutely faded into obscurity. And Richard Gere just busted in and be like, hey, I'm going to open all your wounds for my own benefit, by the way.
Well, the first encounter that they have, though, he's like, how many people have seen it there? He's like 10 or 20. And he's like, no, I'm not, just something's going to happen. Just stay away. Don't go back to Point Pleasant. Just forget it exists. Just shut up. Leave me alone. And then he actually goes back to see him a second time. Then he's like, well, all right. I'll tell you, I was in a mental ward for 3 years. You ever been in a mental ward for 3 years? Because I haven't.
To which Richard Gere just firmly grasps the chapstick left in his coat pocket. No, sir.
He then hurries back to Point fucking Pleasant during a holiday celebration. Why? I don't know.
Because Laura Linney's there, and Laura Linney's kind of cute.
Okay. He turns down every woman that he's met since his wife passed. Yay, whatever. And then suddenly, there's this chick who meets him at gunpoint. And from that moment on, she goes, "Hey man, there's some weird shit going on." He goes, "Yeah, it is." And she goes, "So we are now officially in a long-term relationship," because that's the vibe they put off for the rest of the film.
It really is. She's just showing up at his hotel. He's just showing up at her apartment. They're just
Yep.
showing up at other people's houses together.
Even at said Christmas get together, they embrace as if they were married for, I don't know, 15 years.
I said, it's cuffing season.
The embrace is only there for a moment because we can't let these two characters show that they have been in this long-term relationship, apparently. No, he has to wander off to go find fucking whatever his name is, chilling on the bridge. He's like, "Hey man, why are you in just a t-shirt and barefoot standing on this bridge looking like you're about to kill yourself?" And he says, "Oh, because I am."
And Will Patton's just like, "I had this dream. Me and my buddies, they were mostly all bald and we were on this asteroid in the middle of space."
When was the last time you were happy? I don't know. Are you about to come out to me? Because
Listen,
I'm not the guy for that. Like, I know Richard Gere, he's the Silver Fox. I'm not that guy. I'm playing that guy in a movie right now. You can't come out to me.
well, just briefly, I do have to mention how that line almost derailed the whole movie because Richard Gere looked shook. Like, Will Patton was legitimately asking him man to man, like, when was the last time you were happy?
And he remembers the last time he was happy because it was like 4 seconds before he was in that car crash.
Oh, I thought you were going to say 4 seconds before that conversation. Thanks, Patton.
Bingo. We don't have to worry about it, though, because literally 10 seconds later, this motherfucker's dead in the woods.
I shouldn't laugh at that, but you're right. He just straight up frozen to a tree.
There's a couple of quick jump scares just to, I guess, transition. Like, we see, like, Deborah Messing sit up in bed with him just, like, real quick, and then that scene's over, and then there's a phone call, and it's a wake-up call from the front desk that he didn't call for, and then it's this part of the movie is a little bit to me. We're about, an hour and a half in right now?
Well, yeah, because they're just reusing what they'd already established, the weird phone calls, the visions, but it's like, it's given to us in a way where it's just like, it's already run-of-the-mill, like, everybody's just kind of used to it.
And the sheriff, again, is with our good friend Dick. And she goes, "I thought you said he called you." He did, an hour ago. "I'm fucking Rip Torn again. Fuck daddy. And she goes, "That's impossible. He's been dead for 8 hours." And it's like, bum, bum, bum. Moth Murder Man.
And speaking of Moth Murder Man, what I've got here today is actually from back home from the great state of West Virginia. It's the Mothman Black IPA from Greenbrier Valley Brewing Company, Maxwellton, West Virginia. This is a 6.7% alcohol by volume black IPA. Very dark. It's like a cola brown, as it should be, I expect. But yeah, this has a lot of that like roasty, toasted malt character. Not a whole lot of sweetness, though. There's a little like coffee and caramel, toffee. I guess you do get a little bit of sweetness, but it mostly finishes dry. There's a solid hint of that hoppy bitterness. This is a good beer. I miss it quite a bit.
Speaking of things that you miss quite a bit, this dude's fucking wife is roaming the city searching for him.
The cop sees her, and she tries to describe her to Richard Gere, which is, he's putting two and two together that was his wife. And he, like, whips out a picture from his wall. He's like, is that her? Please tell me. And she's just like, "Sir, that's Deborah Messing."
Did you not watch Will and Grace? She was great in it.
But it's also one of those things that doesn't really go anywhere because, she's not tangible or anything, but, like, she's just around town. That's the thing now.
100% that goes nowhere. And this is definitely one of the parts that could be cut out. She starts describing her. He shows her the picture and is like, you can tell by her face. It's like, yeah, that's her, but that can't be her because she dead. I gotta lie and say this ain't her. No, it wasn't her.
That can't be her. She died of shingles. The doctor told me.
And high cholesterol.
It's just a Cheerios ad.
And then we get some of the dumbest shit. He gets a message that says, "Hey, go home. I'm going to call on this day at this time. Love, your wife." And he does.
Yeah, that happens. He gets a message from his dead wife in his hotel room that she's going to call. You said this exact same thing, but if I reiterate it, maybe it won't sound as stupid.
No,
It's not
no.
sounding.
It's real silly. And I know we're about to wrap things up, but like the movie is like, for whatever reason, trying to postpone the whole bridge situation.
Mhm,
Like, I get it. Like, anybody who like knows anything about Mothman, it's synonymous. Fine.
mhm.
But like, you've already had enough time. He's already put this whole mystery together. Just let's get to it, you know?
Yeah, he doesn't know exactly what's going to go on. He starts getting inclinations that there's going to be a bomb or something, some kind of explosion at the chemical plant in Point Pleasant that's on the Ohio River. Who is it? Is it Indrid that calls him and is like, he says it's a tragedy. There's going to be a tragedy on the Ohio River. And he just understands from the warnings that he's got earlier, this has got to be at the chemical plant. I got to warn people. So he's going to the Charleston Marriott and he's supposed to talk to the governor and tell him not to go on this tour. And the first thing I noticed, that is not the Charleston Marriott.
No, not at all. Not even Embassy Suites. Like, what are we looking at?
That's a
That is like,
Marriott. It's not in Charleston. It's probably in like Marietta, Ohio or something. But it's not in Charleston.
it's definitely too fancy. And
You think?
something else that I noticed was he gets entirely too close to the governor. He's touching this man, and security around the governor just letting it happen.
Well, 2002 was a different time. That was
Is
what?
that the Bob Wise?
Was it Bob Wise? Anyway, so the governor basically says, hey, you're crazy. Would you care to fuck off?
And he promptly does, back to his hotel room to await the phone call from his dead wife. Except he gets another phone call from his current living wife, Cobb. She says, hey, I want Dick for Christmas. By Dick, of course, I mean Richard Gere. She goes on to basically say, listen here, John Klein, which is his character's name. So I called him John Klein Van Damme.
Yep.
Shit happened. She's dead. Move on. He goes full Raising Arizona. I love her so much.
Yep, he absolutely does that. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, to give him credit, he's a great actor, and I totally bought it. But then I'm just like, this seems a lot.
A lot. Yeah.
Why is any of this happening?
It was a little bit much for the scene, and you're right. Why does this scene exist? It exists as a catalyst to get him back to Point Pleasant. She says that, she wants, it's Christmas Eve. You don't need to be alone on Christmas Eve. I only met you 2 days ago, so I want you to come down and spend Christmas Eve with me. I bought you a plane ticket to Columbus. We'll figure it out from the way there. Like, I don't know, come to Point Pleasant again. And he does.
He's just driving there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, maybe that was like the ride from Ohio to there. Remember, because she couldn't get tickets to Charleston, so that was the closest he could get. And then you probably had to, drive the rest of the way.
Then why even show the driving if you don't show the flying? Like, what the fuck?
He has to be in a car going across this bridge at this time, okay? We got to get there.
I would have been perfectly fine if he just appeared in Point Pleasant again. Just I don't
poof.
care. Yeah.
But he's getting back there. It's Christmas Eve. Everybody's trying to get back to their homes. They finished up their holiday shopping. And his mothy sense starts tingling.
Oh.
That's really nice. Yeah, he's stuck in this traffic, and he just, I don't know, gets out of his car and starts walking around. He's like, wait a minute. Something's amiss.
Something smells like structural failure.
He finally gets to the point where the audience has been for like the whole movie. Like, it's the bridge. And, okay, he's trying his best to get people off the bridge to safety. Cool. What I really didn't need is an extremely violent death in a movie that was completely boring for the past 2 hours.
Yeah, for those who didn't know and were waiting for thing to happen, thing is happening now, finally.
War were declared.
We get the actual, to me, meat of this film, and the bridge just fucking destruction is wonderful. We get cables snapping, slamming down, killing young Billy in his vehicle, even though he was just about to get married. You see,
or 2 days before retirement.
Exactly, one of the two. And the concrete is shifting and breaking and alternating up and down. You see the people freaking out as cars are sliding left and right. Big chunks are falling away. Some cars start to begin to fall in. It breaks. You see just the majority of everything go. And guess who's on the bridge? Of course, the cop.
Yeah, she lived up to her dream of drowning with presents around her. I bet she felt really nice that this whole thing was in context. Finally,
This is the worst fucking part of this movie.
It's so. Oh my god! Like the movie tried to stave this off for so long, then it finally gets there and it's just like, "Ugh," and just drops it, and just absolutely drops the ball.
Yeah.
Oh.
What I enjoyed was the actual falling apart of the bridge looked great. What happens immediately after is the dumbest shit I've seen in fucking cinema. The police car falls in, is sinking. You never see her trying to swim. She's never holding a present. She's not on the surface. She sinks to the bottom of the fucking Ohio River in her car. Richard Gere leaps amid thousands of pounds of concrete and steel raining around him into the water, swims to the bottom of the Ohio River, knows exactly where she's at, digs her out of the car, and swims back to the fucking surface with her. A hero.
It's the worst fucking part of this movie.
Well, hang on. He was employed by the Washington Post.
And now I have to admit something. This is the first movie where once I saw that happen, I went, fuck off, and I just turned it off. I turned it off right there.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty much it. That's it.
Absolutely. You mean that. That's it. Because like once she's out of the water and Richard Gere is perfectly dry beside her, the movie just stops. And the movie legitimately just puts text up on the screen and goes just like, yeah, Mothman's real. He did that. We remember. Here's some credits though.
Like a firefighter walks by just to give context, is like, yep, 36 people. 36. I would have been 37. Yes.
He just looks that woman up and down like, yep, it's been 37. 36 though. 36.
Did you get it? Okay, 36. And disappears.
Hey, this one's waking up. Hey, we're at 35.
Oh, it's just that bit from Holy Grail, bring out your dead. Oh, I'm not dead. Duke. 37. 37.
I'm glad you guys went that direction because that's what I was thinking.
I like it.
All right, so we were talking earlier about ways that we could make this movie better. We sort of threw out the idea of replacing Richard Gere because he's too good.
Yes. In fact, replace him with just someone like 90s Paul Rudd, like fresh-faced out of Halloween 6 or something.
How about we replace Richard Gere with David Duchovny?
All right.
Okay.
And then replace Laura Linney. I love Laura Linney, but replace Laura Linney with Gillian Anderson.
Oh,
Yeah?
that would be great.
Ooh.
It would be like the X-Files, but sucky.
Yeah, this would have been a lot better, actually, as an X-Files episode. Just cut off the end, leave it a mystery.
Well,
Yeah.
they would have gave us the Mothman, too. Like, we would have got to see him. He would have been there like...
And then he
Yeah,
would have
for
just,
sure.
like, flown away in really terrible animation, and I would have loved it.
It would have been perfect, though, because we would have also had that moment where Duchovny just walks up and tries to reason with him for no fucking reason.
Yes. Mothman, please, be more specific. I don't know what you're trying to save. I want to believe you. And then light would shine on him.
Yeah, he just takes his shirt off. That's the end of the movie.
Meanwhile, it cuts to the smoking man in an office filled with smoke, and he's like, we've got to get more Mothmen.
Yes. But see, then we would have went, all right, that was a good time. But instead, we get 2 hours of filler and then a bridge scene where he goes, hey, 37. You're not 37. Get it? Got it? Good.
That is. I'm kind of on that same train. Like, I just felt it was just more boring than anything. I love the idea of putting it into like an hour X-Files episode because this could have been condensed into like a 90-minute movie and everything could have at least been paced better. Everything would have meant a little bit more. This weird thing about like not trying to get to the bridge too quick, but when you get there, it's just unsatisfying. It's just forgettable, unfortunately.
Yeah, even though I did enjoy it this go around, it is kind of going to be mostly forgettable. That slow burn sort of supernatural horror, I really like. I really like the building, the slow like gathering of evidence to get there, like it is an X-Files episode. It's just the end of this isn't like an end of an X-Files episode, and there's, at least from probably the 90-minute point on, there's a lot of filler. So it's pretty good, but also pretty forgettable.
As a person that lives in West Virginia, as a person that loves X-Files, I've been to the Mothman Festival. I've eaten the deep fried chitlins. Aside from some cool transitions and a pretty cool bridge destruction scene, this movie can suck my chapstick. It's 2 hours I can't get back.
Well, there you have it. That was the Mothman Prophecies. And if you'd like to see any more supernatural thrillers starring Will Patton, be sure to leave them in the comment section below.
Make sure you hit those like and subscribe buttons. Be sure to hit the little bell icon down there too, so you don't miss what we've got brewing up next.
People, get out there and follow us on social media. We're in all of it. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We're there. Reddit, we're there. We're on YouTube and everywhere that podcasts can be found. We are fucking cool. Like a gander. If you don't, we're going to send you a VHS copy of Mothman Prophecies.
And you'll be floating with the gifts. Gifts. Not gifts.